morning, everyone. My name is Gwyneth Panonce. You can call me Miss Panonce, and I will be your teacher for today. Today, we are going to be tackling about metacognition. So first, here's our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to identify the components of metacognition, apply metacognitive strategies, and analyze the impact of metacognition. So first, let's understand what is metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about thinking. Huh? Teacher, what's lang thinking about thinking? Huna-hunaon na kung akong paghuna-huna? Well, it is the awareness and understanding of one's own thought process. It is the ability to think about your thinking, monitor your understanding, and adjust your strategies as needed. So, sa Bisaya pa, metacognition is kanang hibaw ka o kasabot ka kung unsa ka maghuna-huna, unsa ang proseso kung maghuna-huna ka as a person. So, ang pulo sa metacognition, why atong kailangan sadihan ang metacognition para makasabot ka unsay buhaton nimo or unsay kailangan mong buhaton para ma-improve ang imuhang learning o understanding. So, metacognition again is thinking about thinking. Metacognition has three components: the declarative knowledge, the procedural knowledge, and the conditional knowledge. So, declarative knowledge, also known as the personal knowledge, it is something that you already know. Imong nahibawan, unsa ang imuhang nahibawan. Procedural knowledge or task knowledge, it is the knowledge of knowing how to do things. Unsaon nimo siya pagbuhat. Next is conditional knowledge or strategy knowledge. Kung mao ni siya ang when or why. Kanusaan nimo siya buhaton ug ngano imo siyang buhaton. Let's say, for example, si Mika kikibaw siya mo bake og cookies. Kibaw siya unsay kailangan para ma-bake og cookies. So, she knows what. Unsa man hibaw-an niya, kibaw siya mohimo og cookies. Procedural knowledge. So, musunod ta sa procedural knowledge. Si Mika kibaw siya unsa iyahang sunod-sunod na proseso para makahimo siya og cookies. Then, conditional knowledge. Kibaw siya na chocolate na flavor ang iyang buhaton, kaya naman, maumay ganahan sa iyang mga classmates para mahalin ang iyang cookies. So again, unsa ang components sa metacognition? Declarative knowledge, knowing what, procedural knowledge, knowing how, and conditional knowledge, knowing when or why. So that's the three components of metacognition. Now, metacognition has regulation and control. So there are three. We have planning, monitoring, and evaluating. Planning happens before, monitoring happens during, and evaluating happens after. So, unsa din na si planning? Si planning is selecting the right strategies and gathering necessary sources for performance. So, before sa mahitabo na usa ba ka event, ibutang nato usa ka event, ang usa ka organization kay magplano muna sila kung unsa ang ilang angay buhaton ug unsay kailangan nila to make that event work. Next is monitoring. During the event, ang usa ka organization kay magsige na sila bantay kung unsa ang dapat buhaton ana na time during the event. Unsay mga kuwang, unsay kung nakumpleto na ba or nangabot na ba ang angay maabot na kailangan nila sa ilahang event. And next is evaluating, which happens after. So, evaluating, diri na ang iguman sa event, ang mga parts organization or sa nag-andam sa event, kay ilahang i-assess kung unsa ang kuwang, asa sila nagkuwang, or unsa ilang nabuhat nganong naing-ato, or unsa ilang nabuhat nganong na-successful ang usa ka event. So, that's planning, monitoring, and evaluating. Again, planning happens before, monitoring happens during, and evaluating happens after. So in metacognition, it can also be applied. So we have to plan for the right strategies, monitor kung unsay kailangan nato during the thought process, and of course, evaluating atong i-assess ang atong knowledge kung nabagyod tayo na nakunan. So in metacognitive, we have 5 teaching strategies: the think aloud, the journalizing, the error analysis, the wrapper, and the mentoring. Okay? So first, we have think aloud. It is when the learners think aloud about their thinking as they undertake a task. So have you noticed kung mga bata, especially the smaller ones, the younger ones rather, when they do something, they always say it, di ba? When they solve a math problem, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Kita mo, lahos ng taswat sila, kailan siya na isulti. Tagsa-tagsa, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Nga naman, it promotes better retention, mas ma-learn ta na. For example, kita, mga higher levels na, mga nano sa college or nano sa high school, when we study, we use the Feynman method. Feynman method is when you discuss ang unsa imong tunan. So, imo siyang i-discuss sa mirror or i-discuss mo siya na ikaw raw sad magyaw-yaw ka. Why? Kaya nga naman, mas ma-retain sa ato ang masulti, atong ato siyang gibasa, ato siyang gisulti, mobalik sa siya sa atong dunggan, kay ato na sad siya. So, ato na sad siya madunggan. So, mao na siya mas effective effective ang think aloud na strategy. Next is journalizing. So, journalizing is maumaran siya ni think aloud. Si think aloud, kay kung unsa mong ginahon na, unsang na thought process nimo imo siyang isulti. Si journalizing, kay imo siyang isuwat. Now, we have error analysis. So, unsa na si error analysis? Using feedback for improvement. So, kung i-correct ta, dapat at di masuko atong dawaton para ma-improve. So, we will use those feedbacks na maabot sa tua para ma-improve ta. Dili lang ta magstay na ingana permi. Kung di ta ma-correct ang atong sayop, permi lagi na, it will stay na ingana. Mura gyapon natong gamiton. So, that's the purpose of error analysis. Next is wrapper. It's when you foster learners' metacognition before and during and after. So, wrapper, for example, na ako'y story, mo chika. I will tell a story sa akong class. So, I have here na ako'y apple. So, maana ko sa akong students. Students, na may idea sa story ni teacher? So, apple man, usa ka bata, isising ka mo siya, teacher, I think we're going to talk about Snow White. Snow White. So, before pa lang, ang bata, gahuna na siya na, ay, basin Snow White, kinagdag apple si teacher. And during, makonfirm sa bata, ay, Snow White yun yung storya ni teacher. Then after, maka-assess na si teacher sa iyang mga students kung asa nalibo si students o usaon siya pagpasabot ni teacher sa mga nalibgan niya na part. Next, we have here peer mentoring. It is studying with peers who have more knowledge than them. We don't know everything, but some of our friends may know something that we don't know. So, muna ang purpose ni peer mentoring. Usually, mahitabo na siya mga group studies, di ba? Kung magtuon ta, na ako'y nahibaw ako ang study mate. So, iyang i-explain ako. Na siya nahibawan, nakahibaw ko. So, ako sang i-explain niya. So, we are exchanging information. So, dili man sa tanang panahon, hibaw tas tanan. So, di ba? So, magdawatay ng taog, information. So, that's peer mentoring. So, again, metacognitive teaching strategies. We have 5. It's think aloud, journalizing, error analysis, wrapper, and peer mentoring. So that's it for our lesson for today. Before we end our lesson and our class today, let's have a review. So again, what is metacognitive? Metacognitive is thinking about thinking. And metacognition has metacognition has 3 components. What are those? The declarative knowledge, the procedural knowledge, and the conditional knowledge. So declarative knowledge is knowing what, procedural knowledge is knowing how, and conditional knowledge is knowing when or why. And next we have metacognitive regulation and control, or control and regulation. So it's planning, monitoring, and evaluating. Planning happens before, monitoring happens during, and then evaluating happens after. And lastly, we have the metacognitive teaching strategies. We have the think aloud, journalizing, error analysis, wrapper, and peer mentoring. And thank you so much for listening for today's class, and I hope you understand and I hope you have learned something. So, thank you.